what a way to end this game against Costa Rica, against the Kaylor Navas on the other side with the Matt Freese showed up for this USMNT side. I mean, the possession telling the tale of what we saw a little bit today. Some opportunities missed. Malik Tillman misses his penalty during the regular time, but now that we saw in the penalty kicks, just no doubts to be able to help the USMNT get to here. We are not alone. We've got quite a team here today. Casey Keller joins us from Seattle. Case, I'm going to start with you. Your immediate reaction to what we just saw in these penalty kicks from Freese, from Navas, etc. How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw probably two teams with young, inexperienced players. Looked, particularly as we got to the later rounds, very nervous. I thought Freese did a great job to stand up for the second one and against Calvo. When a player had scored one already, sometimes you think, okay, what's he going to do? He's going to go down the middle. He guessed right on that one. Navas had to come up with a tremendous save to keep Costa Rica in it. But, we were kind of talking, off camera as the penalty kicks were going, and that kid looked nervous on that last one for Costa Rica, and Freese guessed right and came up with the big save. But, a couple inexperienced sides, and it kind of showed during the penalties. And both goalkeepers, I think, proved something. I mean, obviously, Kaylor Navas and the experience that he has, we expected him to make a couple saves in this. And, John Strong was talking about Freese had some decent experience in MLS Next. We were joking about that, how was that going to translate MLS Next to a quarterfinal in a Gold Cup? But Freese made a couple nice saves in the penalties.
Producer Pete asked us who we were leaning towards when it came to the penalty kicks. You believed in Freese, and Freese made 3 saves.
Well, no, I believed that he needed to make a statement. He had a grotesque error versus Haiti. Kind of was at play the second goal in this game. It's an immediate rebound, given that it's pretty point blank, that he gives it right back to the shooter. Shooter lays it back, and it ends up being the second goal. So maybe he would want that back. And if there are anything American goalkeepers do, it's reaction saves. And John Strong, as Case was pointing out, was mentioning his track record in MLS Next. Take that with a grain of salt. Mm-hmm. But if there was ever a moment for you to come up big, if there was ever a moment, Case, where the counterpart, the guy that is next to you, that you look up to, a Kaylor Navas, and you're thinking, I can do something. It's there. And I thought they were both fantastic. I'm going to echo what Casey said, and not just in the penalty kicks, but throughout the game. Casey was talking about the players, the young players who are given an opportunity, and you're like, well, it looks a little nervous. Looks a little nervous walking up into this penalty kick. That showed as well in the games. I'll single out a guy like Max Armstrong. He's shown throughout this camp, whether it's the friendlies or the Gold Cup, that he's good going forward. He plays in a wingback position with the Columbus Crew, and he has free roam down that left-hand side, and he's a very good attacker. Oftentimes green, raw, but very good. What he's not good at is defending, the defending principles. And again, that was on display. He had a play with Luca De La Torre in the second half where the player splits Luca and Max Armstrong and goes right down the middle and creates a second goal. He was at fault for the penalty kick. You don't lunge in that way unless you know absolutely for sure that you're going to win the ball. He doesn't. He blindly goes in, kicks the attacker. It's a penalty kick. He had plays where, on any other given day, cost your team. Yeah. Yes, he had a goal and he had an assist. It's the first time I believe that's happened in quite some time. Clint Dempsey was the last one to do it. I don't even recall when, 2017 maybe the case. But you need to defend if you're a defender. So back to Case, what he was saying about the inexperience showing, I thought that's what we had on display today. 2 very young teams. Miguel Herrera is going to want to work on some things with this very young Costa Rican team, one of the youngest teams in this competition. And Mauricio Pochettino, the same. You saw a lot of defensive errors, a lot of tactical indiscipline. I really felt like that was on display. But credit to the U.S. men's national team, because I didn't think they had it in them. I thought they would buckle. I thought they would fold. And the moment they went to penalty kicks, I told myself that's probably not going to be a good thing for the U.S. men's national team. But they pulled it through. And sometimes you need to be lucky. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. They survive another game. It won't be easy. But if I take anything away from this, it's the resolve of a young team that's prone to make mistakes.
Yeah, and their next rival, by the way, in the semifinals, Guatemala, who eliminated Canada just a few hours ago. It's been a crazy Gold Cup. We expected anything going down in this U.S.-Costa Rica game. But, Case, I want to go back to something that Herc just said. Luck versus being good, and at the end, it resulted here for the U.S. men's national team. Were they more lucky than good, or vice versa to you?
Well, a little bit of luck never hurts. It's always nice to have that on your side. But where I would echo what Herc was saying was that they come out the second half. First of all, they go goal down early from, like you mentioned, Arson with the penalty, and you get away with then the Costa Rica player gives you a gift back on the penalty on Tillman. So you come out of a halftime talk, and you get the early goal. And during the commentator, Stu and John were kind of talking back and forth about, is the third goal necessary? Is it important? And as the U.S., I think for that first 20, 25 minutes of the first half, were dominant. They didn't take the goal. But then to Herc's point, you have to be smarter and better defensively. At 2-1, you can't let Costa Rica get back into the match. Yes, if you can get the third, brilliant, but not at the expense of pushing numbers forward and then giving up the equalizer. So that's where I would kind of criticize this team and also I think there's some finger pointing to Pochettino as well, because what we have seen throughout this tournament is about the 65th, 70th minute, the U.S. just loses any kind of real intensity and real push to see the match out. And substitutions maybe should have come earlier. Defensive substitutions. Herc, you mentioned Arfsen playing as a wingback and that maybe he isn't the strongest defender. Maybe that's the time to put in defensive players in that 65th, 70th minute with the 2-1 lead after you're already a goal down.
You know what, I'm glad? I'm very glad that the U.S. men's national team doesn't lose this game, because there was going to be some finger pointing. There was going to be some toxicity thrown at a few players. We're going to single out Patrick Agiman, another game where I'm sure if you would say he underwhelmed, we were probably going to single out Malik Tillman. You miss a penalty kick. You got a 40 million euro transfer cooking up right now at Leverkusen, and when the team most needs you, you don't come through. Sebastian Berhalter, God knows what would have been thrown his way if the team loses this game. It's an unfair, unrealistic position for a player trying to make his first way into the national team to carry these unrealistic expectations and the weight of previous mistakes that he has nothing to do with. So in a sense, I'm glad they pulled it out for some of these players, because they don't deserve that. That said, these players can learn from that. I'm sure that's going to help Sebastian Berhalter. I'm sure it's going to help Malik Tillman. It's going to help Max Arfsen, or it should help these type of players, because what's next, maybe on paper looks easy. Guatemala on paper would look easy in St. Louis, a team that I believe this is the third time in their history they've made the semifinal of the Gold Cup. Yeah. A very well-represented team with their fan base, but you should, on paper, be favored. It's not going to be an easy game, so I'm glad that they took care of business here so we didn't have to hear about these things later.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of those young players, too, we saw, like Freeman take a penalty kick. He made it. Tolkien missed his, but at the end of the day, and we saw that Berhalter moment, and we talked a little bit off camera here, just what it meant to his sisters, too, crying when they saw their brother miss that penalty kick.